So I just recently received this. This is the Diamond Select prop replica of the original Star Trek series phaser. So Diamond Select, you're pretty much aware of them. They do all of the starships, lighted sound starships, and they're really good replicas. So this is no exception. You can see this looks pretty nice. I like the blue that they've used here. It's like a really nice vintage blue, and I think Playmates makes one of these as well, but Playmates is more designed for kids. This one's actually designed probably for a little bit more towards the collector's side of things. 2016 stamped on the side of this thing, so yeah, not too old, but I picked this up for $40 and the seller said that it doesn't work. So something's broken here and I'm going to pull it apart, see if I can fix it. Looking at the phaser, so you've got a couple of switches here. These are mechanical switches. I can tell because I can hear things clicking away. Take this off. I think you've got to, oh yeah, just pull it out. So this thing's pretty light. I imagine there's only like a wire in here that connects to this front nose section here, which has got like an LED, given that that's a clear section. I actually haven't seen this thing operated, so I have no idea what the sounds are and what it's capable of doing. So it'll be fun to hear it if we can get the thing to work. So mechanical switches, you can see this just engages a small post here, and then the trigger just engages another post which rises as well. You've got two looks like terminals here. That's on spring terminals. So that's obviously where the power is coming from, the top section. Overall, the rest of it is pretty nice. Handle is good, feels fairly sturdy. It's hard plastic, so it's pretty good. So if we have a look at the top section, this is probably where all the action happens. You can see the two terminals here, which connect to those spring terminals on the actual bottom part of the gun. You've got the two buttons here, which coincide with those two mechanical posts that rise. So this detachable part here, this is the section that holds the batteries and all the circuitry, possibly the speakers in there too. And I think in the original series these were like the handheld phasers. So this little dial here, this is actually could be a switch. I can sort of hear it clicking, so possibly that engages something as well. Look at the front here, there's actually like a little LED, and look at the front there, you can see there's like a 5mm LED or something. I'm going to open this battery compartment up and see what it's like in here, if it's even got batteries in it, and if it hasn't, I'll grab some batteries. Okay, so I've got the LR44s in here. Let's test this and see if it's working. I think these buttons should be doing something. So we should have 4.5 across here, and I don't know if you can see that on the camera. Yeah, so we've got 4.5. Okay, so there was an issue with this off camera. The terminals for the negative side, they were all pushed up against the plastic compartment, so it looks like somebody's probably had batteries in there for a really long time. So I had to get like a little pick and just pick out all those negative terminals and push them out. So now we've got 4.5 across the three of those 1.5 volt batteries, so we're all good here. The next thing we need to do is test if there's actually voltage going in through the circuit. So let's leave it on 6 volts here. Let's connect to the ground. So we should have 4.5 volts or around that in a lot of the circuitry here. If we go to, let's start out here, it goes through this IC here, but on the other side of that is the capacitor. So let's start here on the capacitor. Actually, if we switch to VCC for this one, here we go, 4.5. So we're getting something through there. Let's go to capacitor 2. Yeah, 4.5. The resistor, we should have, switch over to VCC on this resistor, 4.5 on the resistor. So that's good. So we're getting voltages through this part of the board here. Let's go over here, we've got another resistor, 4.5, so we're getting voltages through this resistor. It then comes down through to, it goes through this transistor here, which is Q1. So we probably should get something out. Yeah, so we've got about 3 volts on that other side of that Q1 transistor. which makes sense because I think this ends up running down. Does this run down through to the LED? I don't know, I can't really see. There's a bit of gunk on there, but then you've got those two wires there at the end of the circuit. This is what runs down to those terminals that are underneath, and then that just connects down onto the lower part of the phaser that we're getting through. You will see that there's the LED at the front here, and we should probably, if we actually run a little bit of voltage through this circuit, if I just switch over to the continuity mode, which I think that delivers a little bit of a circuit, that delivers a little bit of voltage. So if we go straight to, let's go before the LED, let's come over here to around where these capacitors are, see if we can get, anything at all. Yeah, there we go. Okay, it's cool. So we've got that red LED you can see lit up there. I'll move my hand out of the way. And so the LED's working, so at least we know that that's not blown. Okay, so what I've done is I've taken out this switch. This, you can see on the other side of this switch here, there's actually 3 little prongs. You can just remove those and remove that little silver outer section here, which just holds that rubber switch, down. I removed that, cleaned it with alcohol, also cleaned the trigger, cleaned this one as well. I'm still pressing the button, I'm still getting nothing. I know I've got 4.5 volts, so there's no problem there with the voltages. So there's another issue. Now I also did test these capacitors here. You can see there's 2 sitting here. I've actually tested those as well. They seem to be okay. Next thing I want to do is test these connections down here just to make sure that there's nothing wrong with those wires. Occasionally you do get problems with these wires. It's not a silicon wire, so it's actually, if you flex them too much, they can break relatively easy. So starting from the left hand side, you can see this. So we want, let's go to the voltages and see if we're getting, actually let's start at continuity and see if we're getting continuity through all the wiring. That's the next one, black. Black. Okay, looks like there's another problem here. Looks like there's no continuity through that wire. Let's go to the next one, which should be white. White? Are we connecting? Oh yeah, white. Green. Green, and what's the last one? Blue. Blue, okay, yeah, we've got skunk all over those connections, those solder connections, but you can see that it's working. Just go back to that black one again. Okay, so this black line here is suspect. What I'm going to do is run voltages, see if there's, so when we tested this before, there was 4.5 volts across all of those lines. So let's switch over to DC and just test all these. Make sure we're getting, should be able to see the multimeter. So we got 4.5 on the red. Now we had 4.5 on that black as well, which is interesting. There's nothing here. We've got 4.5 on the white. We've got 4.5 on the green. We've got, this one's a little bit iffy. 4.5, there we are, on that blue one. So again, the black one, okay, and we're back. So what I've ended up doing is replacing this black wire here with a new silicon wire. That one was actually broken. So we now have 4.5 volts. So let's switch this over. So let's switch this over to the DC. Let's connect up to the ground, and we should have 4.5 volts on this black wire. So we do. So we now have 4.5 volts across these connections, and then also these connections here, which run over to the this little potentiometer here, which I think changes the sounds of the actual phaser. Okay, so let's test this again and see if we get anything. and we're getting nothing. So still nothing. I can see one of the wires is actually broken, but that's okay. That should still work on this button. Okay, so I've had a bit of a breakthrough here, and I know that it wasn't the circuit board because there was getting correct voltages throughout the board. So I ended up turning my attention to this. Now this is the actual dial section that you select on top of the unit. So it's got these little terminals or filament that's around the circuit board, and what happens is when you have the actual little dial here, it's got two little prongs. Now these actually slide, one on the top and then one on the bottom. So if this doesn't make contact, then you're not going to get any sound. So this kind of completes the circuit, because if these two prongs don't touch, then it won't essentially output the signal or the voltages back to the board. But what's happened is the spring that's inside here, this little dial, is pushing the board back. For whatever reason, this board is back on an angle, and so the two prongs aren't making contact. So watch what happens when we press the board back against the dial. What we need to do is put something behind this backboard here that slots down sort of behind. So yeah, I've got no idea how this would have happened. I mean, considering that there's nothing actually broken. Okay, so off camera I've gone and replaced all of the wiring in here. The two speaker wires I haven't replaced. That one actually did come off, but I actually stripped it back and put it back on just for now. But this wiring is absolutely crap. I wasn't able to get them through the holes, so I did actually have to go around the circuit board. It was just find something that I can slot in here to push this circuit board. Let me see if I can find something. Okay, I'm back and I found a little piece of plastic here. This is probably about 1 mil thick, and this could be actually perfect for the job. I've ended up cut it up, so let's see if I can slot this in. Just line the board up straight here. Push this down as far as I can. So let's test this out. Okay, cool. Now, before I do all this, let me just... You've got this little white thing here. It's got little posts on it, and that's actually meant, so it's meant to click into all the different positions. I don't actually know how many positions this has got. A lot of numbers on the top there, but I'm not actually sure if they actually do all of the numbers that are indicated on there. So I'm going to also reconnect this wire now, because I actually broke one of the wires that connect to the terminals. So here it is all back together. Ended up manipulating the silicone wire so that it didn't intersect with any of the screw holes, and I was able to fit in there just. So I guess we got to try this out. I haven't tested it since I put it back together, but I'm hoping that it's all going to be good. Again, so I don't know all the controls on this, but I'm going to go through them, hopefully, if this is still working. So, first thing I'm going to do, test here, is, I guess, the trigger. Actually, let's see if we can kill this light a little bit. So it's actually... Is there actually light there? Okay. Light is there. Okay, third time lucky, so I ended up opening it up again because the LED light stopped working. I think maybe it might have been one of those silicone wires hitting something else on the board. So I've just fixed all that up again. So let's try this out again. I'm just going to turn that light down here, and I think these batteries are pretty low as well, but just so I can give this a test and just make sure everything's working on it. So first thing we've got here is the trigger. I like the way it lights up in this little area here. That's pretty cool. You've got this little switch here, which I'm not sure what that does. Oh, that turns off the light. The switch is on top here. This one just sort of opens this little cover thing, which I'm not sure what that is. Okay, so we've got this one, which is that the first one? Oh no, it goes lower. So it goes down to about here. Okay, so it's got about 4 different settings there. So there's not actually 20 sounds on there, it's only 4. But that's still pretty cool, right? I mean, so, and then the last thing we've got here is we've got this little switch at the back here. This is the one that engages that button at the back there. So let's try that. And getting anything? Nothing. Oh, okay. Okay, so they're all the same there. Now, I don't actually know if somebody had tried to fix this. There was kind of signs that maybe somebody had looked inside. They don't use this good silicon wire stuff. They use, this crappy stuff, which is fine for about a year or something, and until it starts getting all stiff, and then it just ends up breaking. Yeah, I'm glad I was able to get this thing going again, and I'm going to make a acrylic display stand for this because that's what I do. So that's where I'm going to leave it. I'm pretty stoked. I've got a original Kirk phaser. But until then, look after yourself, and I'll see you on the next project.